Landscape photography is a funny thing. As is anything creative, you can start out a project with no hope at all, yet come away with your best ever work. And you can have days where you feel great and you're sure everything is going to go your way, yet when it comes down to it, you struggle to get going and you can't make anything work.
So a very unsettled start to Sunday, disruptive snow, as I mentioned, across southern Scotland, northern England in particular. This continues through the day, so do stay tuned to the Met Office warnings and forecasts.
Well, today was one of those days where I had everything going for me, yet somehow struggled to make anything work. Well, good morning everybody. Welcome to a very cosy van. We've got the heater going, just had breakfast, made a coffee. And there was snow in the forecast, and I can confirm that the forecast is correct. It is snowing outside. We've had a good dumping overnight, so I'm waking up to a pristine snow-covered landscape. It's just starting to get light outside, so I'll finish my coffee, get geared up, and then I'll go for a bit of a walk with the camera and hopefully enjoy a beautiful morning's photography. But for now, I think I'll stay warm a little bit longer, enjoy my coffee, and get ready for the day. The tailgate usually needs a little bit of help when it's cold. Takes a minute. So I'm going to be taking it easy this morning, I think. No pressure to get a photograph, because every time it snows, I get this immense, overwhelming sense that I need to create lots of outstanding images. And the truth is, actually, especially in this country anyway, when it snows, it doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed to get beautiful images. Because unless it's a huge dumping of snow over several days, it actually can make the landscape quite messy. My goal today is quite simple. I just want to have a nice walk, and if I'm lucky, I want to get one nice image. Maybe something I'll print. I'm not sure, but I think I stand to gain a lot by taking the pressure off myself. I think that's a good approach and a good piece of advice to all landscape photographers. It's take the pressure off yourself. Don't assume anything's going to be easy. Don't assume anything's a given. But we'll see. Who knows? So one of the problems we face with snow in this country is that it's so fleeting. The snow is already beginning to drop off all the branches, and as soon as it drops a certain amount, that's when a landscape can look really messy rather than beautiful winter wonderland. This is what I was talking about before. Sometimes it's as if the snow makes the landscape worse. It's such a conflict, because visually it's beautiful. I'm standing here in like 6 to 8 inches of snow that's fallen overnight, and it's just glorious. It really is. But photographically, I'm struggling a lot. You can probably hear now the wind's picked up, which is just going to make things even worse. But my hope is that more snow falls. It's forecast to be falling all day. So if we get a good heavy snow shower coming through, then all of this, it won't matter. You'd be forgiven for thinking it's snowing. It's not, it's just the wind's picking up. The landscape is deteriorating by the minute. Yeah, we really need that fresh dumping. Come on. Right, I think what we'll do is move on to another area that's not far away, just a couple of miles, but it'll be far better if we get snowfall. And if we don't get snowfall, well, I'll be surprised, it's blooming well forecast all day. But if we don't, then I don't know. Good news and bad news. The bad news is it's just incredibly unphotogenic, like it's so messy. I just think I'm in the wrong landscape. The good news is that it is actually starting to snow. It's very wet snow, but that doesn't really matter because for what I'm after, if we get heavy snow, if it picks up and really starts coming down thick, almost like a blizzard, then we can use that to our advantage. We can get creative with it, shooting trees almost silhouetted, shallow depth of field with snow falling in front of them. And then with heavy snowfall, all of a sudden the landscape turns into a sketch pad, like as if everything's been drawn by a pencil. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not stressed. I made a video about 6 weeks ago saying that I wasn't going to take images just so I could feel like a video was finished. Sometimes you go out with a camera, sometimes on paper you get amazing conditions, but doesn't always mean you get images. So we'll stick around, maybe make another coffee and just wait and see what happens. Patience is the name of the game. Right, whilst I make this coffee, let me thank the sponsor of this video, which is MPB. Now, if you don't know who MPB are, they're a company who buy and sell and trade used camera gear. So if you've got some old cameras lying around that you're not using anymore, well, you can make a bit of extra money and sell them to MPB. I sold them my Canon 5D Mark IV. I also sold them my Fuji GFX 50R, and it's really easy. You tell them what condition the camera's in. They'll then send you a quote. If you're happy with the quote, they'll send you a shipping label, and that's it. It's faff free. As soon as you ship the product, the money's in your bank account. No time at all. So they don't just buy gear, they also sell gear. So if you're looking for a camera upgrade or possibly a downgrade, you can buy great used gear from their website, or you can just do a straight up trade. So if you fancy giving that a go or taking a look, there is a link to MPB in the description below. If you can use that link, then it's very important because then they'll know that you came there through this video, which means they'll continue to support my work and my channel. So yeah, mpb.com, link in the description below. Good news. It's snowing outside. It's not fat snow, it's quite fine, but it seems to be getting heavier, seems to be getting more dense. So, yeah, I've not lost all hope of a photograph today. man, we are in very tight quarters here. So I was just walking back to the van and I thought, it's not really working for me. And then the snow got quite a lot heavier very quickly. And as I was walking back to the van past this quarry, I looked out and I thought, oh, that is what I've been hoping for. The contrast of the falling snow against the black slate, the outline of winter trees. And I thought, yes, finally, we might have something. But of course it wasn't easy. I was trying to find the view of what I was looking at, an unobstructed view through the trees, and I just couldn't find it. So I've sort of come along the edge of the quarry and now I'm up to this bit with the fallen tree, which has actually created a window. If this tree hadn't fallen, we wouldn't have the window, so that's quite good. And it's a simple shot. It's almost abstract in a way, but it's exactly what I was talking about with regards to it looking like a pencil sketch. Like, it's completely monochrome. There's no colour in the landscape. Maybe a subtle hint of green on the mossy slate rock, but not really. But the falling snow and that ethereal kind of shrouding of the landscape looks cool. Let me frame up anyway. Yeah, it's an okay image. It's not like super pretty or anything. I think we've already established that we're not going to achieve that in this location. But it's quite nice. One of the difficulties I'm having is having to up my ISO quite a lot, up to probably around about 1,000, 800, 1,000, something like that, because I want to shoot at a small aperture, so f11, so I get that long depth of field, because I want the falling snow to be like crisp and sharp all the way through the image, or at least as much as possible. And I also want a fast shutter speed to freeze the falling snow. If I was to lower my ISO, I'd have a longer shutter speed, maybe about a 25th or a 30th of a second, and then the snow would be a blur. I mean, I might try that, but for what I've got in mind, I want it crisp, crisp and almost hard. Don't think I've ever described an image as hard before. Well, did my afternoon take an interesting turn? So, after taking that photograph of the quarry, which, whoa, I wasn't massively happy with. I was thinking that the day's probably a bit of a write-off. The photography wasn't going very well, the snow was turning into rain, and everything was a bit messy. I thought, I'll probably just call it a day. And then I got chatting to this girl. She came over and she was asking about photography, and she'd been recording some audio samples in Cathedral Cave, which is just around the corner. So we had a good chat for maybe 10-15 minutes. And then she said, oh, would you mind taking some photographs for me? Because it turns out she's a musician and she does folk music. And she wanted some images of it in the snow for her album cover. And I thought to myself, well, I'm not really doing anything else, so yeah, I don't mind helping someone out, no problem at all. But I wanted to go and check out a tarn up the hill, which was like a 10 or 15 minute walk. So I said, I'll tell you what, why don't you just come with me? I want to check out this one location, although I didn't really have much hope for any photography, because by now the snow had pretty much turned to sleet and rain. So we walked up and had a bit of a look around. I thought I was just going to take a couple of quick snapshots. She had like a nice white Nordic dress and a furry collar, and it all looked very cool, but I took a few shots and the images that I took of her were just terrible. Like, I had the same problem shooting those portraits as I had shooting my own landscapes, in that the surroundings was just so messy. And when we were chatting, she mentioned that she did a bit of cold water dipping. So I encouraged her to get in the water. I was like, I tell you what, why don't you get in the water and it'll be cold and we'll have to run back to the vans, but it'll be amazing. It'll be worth it, because these are terrible. It didn't take much persuasion, to be honest. And then she got in the water. It must have been freezing, man. The water was frozen over. It was like it had a slushy surface, and she waded out. And instantly, I was like, yes, these are the images. These are so much better. Like, I didn't want to send her the other ones just in case she sort of used them and then tagged me in. I was like, no, they're awful. But the ones that were in the water, and I didn't film any of this, by the way, because, well, you know me, I can't film when there's other people around. So, yeah, so she walked out into the water and it created this trail of like black open water, which contrasted so well against the frozen slushy ice. And I'm taking these pictures and I'm thinking, these are incredible. Like they were so cool. And I realised that's what you've got to be. You've got to be committed, and she was committed. She got in, she was in there for 3 minutes. We took a series of photographs, and I'm just thinking, how has my afternoon gone this way? You know, I was written off the YouTube video. I just thought, yeah, we're not getting any photograph. It's all melting and everything's just turned into a complete mess. So yeah, I probably could have filmed some of it, but I just didn't want to. I don't want to stop pointing a camera at people and putting everyone on YouTube. But she was happy for me to tell this story and to share the images on this video. So make sure, if you want to hear some beautiful folk music, Nordic folk, and I will link to her Spotify, I think, and Instagram and various social medias below. So feel free to check her out, and you can probably see more of the images. But just funny how like your day can completely change directions. And now I'm going to have to go home to my wife and explain that I spent the afternoon photographing a blonde Nordic girl in a frozen town. See how that conversation goes down.